Hello, everyone. Welcome to the EOS Hot Sauce, episode number 146. I hope that everyone is doing well and everyone is enjoying their day. I'm your host, Dan Singjoy, and we have very exciting topics to share with you today, particularly about funding the EOS ecosystem. So let's get right into it. The first topic that we'll discuss is that the ENF announced the grant framework. Whoa. Okay, a little computer trouble with my screens. So the first topic that we'll discuss is that the ENF announced the framework for direct grants on EOS. Very big, exciting news. And then we'll discuss Pomelo Season Two, more big news with the Eosio Coalition, the Mandel weekly update, and the second official Eden election. So first topic, ENF direct grants. We have some great art with people carrying up the framework up the stairs. I love to see it. And the EOS Network Foundation announced the ENF Grant Framework. So this is an efficient and transparent and milestone-driven grant investment framework to help fund teams on EOS. And this is a super exciting announcement that will be incredibly helpful. It will usher in a new era of development opportunity that was previously unavailable on EOS, and it'll enable people to be funded on EOS that were never before possible. So the ENF has already created a huge amount of value for EOS since forming last year by funding the Working Group Blue Papers and Pomelo and Eden and recognition grants and OCI and so much more. But the ENF's approach to funding so far has been relatively ad hoc and manual because EOS didn't have a streamlined and scalable grant framework to fund many teams as EOS grows. So in late 2021, ENF started creating the ENF Grant Framework, and they first announced their intentions to create this kind of funding mechanism in this excellent article that Eve Rose wrote back then. There's also a really cool picture too, which I love to see, with the EOS growing on the trees and the light bulb and the ideas and so forth. And hello, everybody. Hello, Martin and Moro and so great to see everybody, and Dr. Wu. Thanks everybody for being here. And yeah, so really excited to share more about these funding mechanisms and the ENF grant framework with everybody. So so that was in 2021. And then since then, the ENF has been doing a great deal of studying and work to balance all the needs of the ecosystem to make this grant process as helpful as possible. And with today's announcement of the ENF grant framework, we now have a detailed grant program to help power research, software development, and maintenance of EOS and the EOS.io codebase. You can see a high-level overview with many exciting details in this blog post that was recently published this week by the ENF. It's really helpful. I highly recommend reading it. You can read about the clear guidelines and the clear grant process and how the payout system works with different milestones, different grant levels on here. And then, in addition to this introductory blog post, you can also explore this very detailed and thorough and well thought out GitHub repository, which explains everything in much more detail, basically everything that I think that people could ask about the grant framework. I read most of it yesterday and am very impressed and very excited to see it in action and helping funding great teams. The ENF grant framework is open to individuals and small companies and small teams, or any size company, small teams and companies. And there are 3 different grant levels scaled to fit the scope of each initiative. So the grants start around $10,000 for individuals and small businesses. And then there's a second grant level of around $50,000 you can see here. And then there's also grants of over $50,000 for larger projects and companies. And all these are paid on EOS. So yeah, it's really exciting that great teams of all sizes will be able to get grants from EOS to help build on EOS. During the fireside chat this week, there was a great conversation with Eva Rose and Hernan about how this grant framework can fit into the EOS ecosystem and how it can help. So Eve talked about how we can think of the grant framework kind of like seed funding, where teams can gain funding to build their product and build their services and so forth without needing to give up equity. And then it can work really well together with ENF Ventures and VC firms like Helios, which can do further rounds of funding after that. As I was saying, like, there's a huge amount of details here that I don't have time to go through all of it, but I definitely recommend checking out. There's grant guidelines for all sorts of different popular grant categories, like improvements to the core Eosio chain and development tools and UI development. And there's also the detailed grant milestones. Everything is very well thought out and well detailed. So if anybody's looking to raise funding and build on EOS, then I highly recommend checking it out. And these grants are available for both for-profit and public good entities. The goal is that all the grants will benefit the EOS ecosystem, and all projects are encouraged to apply for grants, although preference will be given to technical projects that clearly add to the public good. So then last year, Eva LaRose also wrote an excellent article about creating positive sum gains for public EOS. Last year, Eve wrote an excellent article about creating positive sum gains for public goods on EOS, which is very applicable to this ENF Grant Framework. And also Pomelo and Eden and Fractally and all these different exciting developments on EOS that are helping to create value for the EOS ecosystem and the world as a whole. The world as a whole has lacked good mechanisms to fund public goods that are helpful for everybody. And now EOS has all these different mechanisms to fund public goods that are helpful for the EOS ecosystem, bring value to EOS, empower creators and empower builders who want to help everybody. So I recommend checking it out. If you're not familiar with public goods or just want to reread it, I read a lot of this article a lot again yesterday, and it's a great article. And I'm really excited about the direction that the ENF is going and EOS going with funding public goods. The ENF Grant Framework is supported by many amazing EOS community members who are forming the committee, evaluators, and operations team to drive the process for ENF direct grants. So you can check it out also on this blog post, who's involved. The grant committee is a bunch of business leaders and developers who have been around in the ecosystem for quite a while, and they know what the EOS ecosystem needs and know the direction that we need to go in technical aspects to make EOS as helpful as possible. Many of these people on the grant committee are in the advisory board for the ENF and have been building on EOS for a long time. There's also great grant evaluators who are providing a lot of technical acumen and expertise to kind of take the next step after getting some initial funding decisions from the grant committee. Then the grant evaluators with like these really great EOSI engineers can help determine what grants are most helpful, what projects are most helpful, and if grants are achieving the technical goals in an optimal way, and help to make the grants as helpful as possible. And then there's also Jeff Werner and Ted Cahall, which are leading the operations team with their great experience. And as you can see from this blog post and the GitHub post, it seems like they're doing a really great job. And yeah, so I'm really excited about this. As I was saying before, it synergizes really well with all the other pillars of support in the EOS ecosystem for funding, like Pomelo and Eden and upcoming ENF ventures. And it's really helpful to compensate all the value creators in EOS and foster highly productive development cycles within the EOS ecosystem. During the fireside chat, there's Pomelo and Eden and the ENF Ventures. I recommend checking out this video. It sounds very exciting what's coming up soon. And yeah, during the EOS Fireside Chat, Eve talked about more about this, and he talked about the overall vision about how in an ideal world, when we accomplish all these goals, that every single stakeholder and every single new community member, developer, or business leader, business startup, entrepreneur who comes to EOS within the shortest amount of time and as efficiently as possible can find themselves in a place in the ecosystem where they can apply their particular skill set and their idea and be compensated for their work. So whether it's the ENF Grant Framework or Eden or any of these different public good and for-profit funding arms, new community members can join the ecosystem and be rewarded for helpful work by the ecosystem, and surround creators, all kinds of value creators, with all kinds of support, like both in terms of financial, which we focus on here, and then also legal support and community and social support and technical support. And basically everybody who's creating value in the world, all of these mechanisms in EOS of funding, and these mechanisms of funding and supporting can support and amplify whatever you are doing to create value. So that's really exciting. There was also a great discussion about this, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago, where Eve spoke on Bywire News, an excellent interview with Michael O'Sullivan, talking about building the future of EOS for everyone. And he also spoke at Ikigai. Ikigai is the reason for living. It's a Japanese word, and it's like a combination of doing what we love and doing what we're good at, and what the world needs, or what EOS needs, and what the world is willing to pay for, what the EOS network is willing to pay for. So with all these funding mechanisms like the ENF Grant Framework, We are enabling people to find their ikigai, to do what they love and what they're really great at, and empower people to do these things to create great value for EOS. And when we have all of these things synergizing with all these amazing value creators and all of these great funding and supporting tools, it's very exciting, and it's very powerful, and I think it'll be really helpful for EOS and the world as a whole. So I've also seen several other grant frameworks like this in other ecosystems, and I've seen them be very successful. And I think that this is really, really well coordinated and really well organized. And I'm very excited to see, I'm very proud and I'm happy to see this great development from the ENF. And I'm very excited to see all of the great funding that comes out of this and all the amazing teams and developments that are empowered by the ENF Grant Framework and all of these funding mechanisms. So that's awesome. I see lots of enthusiasm in the chat too. I see lots of spicy hot peppers, probably peppers, and fire. Go EOS, Veronica, love handles. Great to see everybody. We got some hot chili emojis. All right, we got them. Thank you everybody for the enthusiasm. I love to see it. And yes, Bart is back in the EOS community. Sweet. He's spending time with NFT 42, which I've learned quite a bit about. He's doing some really cool work with NFTs, and I imagine that he'll bring a lot of the expertise to the EOS ecosystem. Bart Wyatt is a great developer who used to work at Block One, so it's awesome to see great developers like Bart, and there's also so many other great developers that are working with the ENF and working with EOS, and all coming together for these beautiful funding mechanisms and grant foundations and just teamwork to make the best experience possible with EOS. So that's awesome. And on to the next topic. Speaking of public good funding, we have Pomelo Season 2, super exciting. So Season 2 is in full swing and the EOS community is buzzing with activity. There are so many great public good grants I've been exploring, and it's really awesome to see all the excitement in the air and in the chats and on Twitter and people talking about it. I'm learning about so many amazing projects and teams. You can now log into Pomelo to support exciting projects that you love and amplify donations with the power of project funding. During the fireside chat this week, Daniel Keys shared some very exciting updates and progress about Season 2. So over 120 grants have been approved so far, and public good creators have raised more than 12,000 EOS for over 695, probably over 700 unique donors so far. So that's super exciting. Quite a lot of funding and participants, and many more grants and participants and activity happening in Season 1, which is awesome. So it's super exciting to see all this great success in Pomelo Season 2 so far. Yeah, and also the total matching funds in Season 2 are over $1 million. So that's over twice as much as Season 1. And so, yeah, it's a really great opportunity to support exciting projects that you love and also help reward people who are creating public goods for the EOSI community, and also for people who are creating public goods for the EOSI community to be rewarded for their work and compensated and to get more funding to build more public goods. So really cool. The Pomelo team is encouraging public good grant donors to tweet about public good grants that they've submitted and have been approved on Pomelo. And Pomelo team says that they will retweet approved grants to increase exposure for public goods. So if you're a public good grant donor and want to get the word out more about your public good, then make a tweet. And it's described in this tweet exactly what Pomelo team wants in order to retweet it. Basically include a description of your public good tweet and also include a link in it to your Pomelo grant, and also tag @Pomelo Grants and tag #Pomelo Grants so that the Pomelo team will see it and retweet it and help boost exposure for your public good. With this great Pomelo Grants hashtag too, it serves multiple purposes. So another thing that it does is it makes it so everybody can see many great public goods in Pomelo by checking out that hashtag, just by clicking on it. I scrolled through it before. Well, here's the Pomelo grants page. So that's also a great benefit too, that people can check out all the awesome things that the Pomelo team is retweeting and great Pomelo NFTs. More details about those coming up soon. And yeah, you can check out the hashtag Pomelo Grants and check out all the people who are making public good on EOS and who are Pomelo grants. So there's a whole bunch of them here. I highly recommend checking them out and retweeting and liking and supporting all the public goods on EOS. And there's only like 3 more days or so until grant submissions are not open anymore. So public good creators can create grant submissions until April 11th. So if you have a public good that you're creating on EOS, then go to pomelo.io and submit that soon. And then tweet Pomelo, like I said before, and get the word out. Public good creators can also promote their project, if it's a public good product, but I meant to say project with, so public good grant creators can promote their project and help the EOS community learn about public goods in EOS Fireside Chats on the EOS community Discord, and also Pomelo pitch deck episodes with Jenner EOS, and also testament meetings on WeChat. So this is a really great opportunity. And the more that people get the word out about their public goods, that's really great and really helpful for everybody, because there's like so many amazing projects on Pomelo. As I said before, there's over 120 approved grants. Like there's so many amazing projects, and a lot of people haven't heard about a lot of these projects or don't know. Even if they've heard about it, there's so many exciting details and progress happening with all these. So the more that we can get the word out and spread it out, spread the understanding for how these public goods help the community, that's all really helpful. And these are really helpful opportunities to get the word out and to help inform and share the excitement for how these public goods can help with the EOS community. So this week during the EOS Community Fireside Chat, we heard Pomelo pitches from 2 people, or actually 3 people, 2 teams who are making great Pomelo pitches, who are sharing great public goods on their Pomelo pitches in the EOS Fireside Chat. So the first team that we heard from was Port. We heard from Luca. Port is building a very helpful technology that enables authentication of EOS account with passports, and basically enables to use your passport, the NFC chip in your passport, to verify your identity without fully revealing your identity with like traditional KYC. So it enables privacy while also verifying identity. And Port was funded by the EOS Nation team last year because it provides very helpful features for Pomelo and for public good funding. For Pomelo, you can get a 25% trust bonus with Port, which means that if you use Port to verify your profile in Pomelo, then all of your funding will have 25% more voting power to determine the allocation of the matching pool. And when you combine that with social media profiles, you can get up to a 50% trust bonus. So basically, if you donated 100 EOS to projects that you want to support, who are doing great public goods in the ecosystem, then that will count as 150 EOS in the matching pool calculation rather than 100 EOS. So that's really awesome. It's really helpful. And the best way to ensure that funding goes to public good creators for Pomelo is to have many verified people funding public goods with trust bonuses. So Port's providing a very helpful service for Pomelo and also for the world as a whole. I'm excited to see how it's developed. You could check out their public good Pomelo pitch over here. And yeah, I recommend checking it out. And I'm very excited to see all the great development with Port. There was also a great Everything EOS podcast with Daniel Keys from about 2 weeks ago with many more details about this and all the great developments that Pomelo has been making to improve the Pomelo process and with trust bonuses and stuff like that. So yeah, I highly recommend listening. It's very good and very helpful. And it's great to hear from Luca, and I'm very excited to hear more. The next Pomelo pitch that we heard from was from Chuck and Dominic about EdenElections.com. We briefly covered this at the end of last week's Hot Sauce, and I won't go into too much detail here, but basically it's a new initiative to lead the future development of the Eden software and create a tool that anyone can use to cooperate and operate Eden elections with their own community. So Chuck wrote a very interesting article here. You can read it. I recommend it. The team is working with the assistance of the EOS support EOSPs, and they also have a website and a Pomelo pitch where you can learn more. And yeah, they're also working with many different languages to help spread fractal democracy all around the world. And Chuck also shared a really cool idea. Chuck has been making like these awesome Eden NFTs. And so he shared an idea that was interesting about providing NFTs to everybody who participates in Eden elections and helps foster all the public good that comes out of Eden. So that's really cool too. And yeah, I'm thankful for that. I thanked Chuck during the call, and it's great to hear from Chuck and Dominic, and I'm excited to see more development there. So grant owners can apply to promote their projects on a website that I was supposed to link, but I didn't, but that will be in the link in the description. And I'm sure you've seen it before if you've been following. But yeah, basically there's a link that is maybe shared in the chat where people can apply to promote your project on the fireside chats and Tessent and so forth, and the generous things, generous pitch sessions. So there's that. And then also there is Pomelo Diamond NFTs. I showed the picture before of the awesome, beautiful art for the diamond pomelos, and the NFT blends are now live. And also your Pomelo connection, your Pomelo NFT collection now shows up on your public profile on Pomelo. So that looks very cool and stylish. You can publish the Pomelo Season 2 NFTs on Atomic Hub or shop.pomelo.io, and all funds that are raised will be added to the matching pool to help fund public goods on EOS. And there's also great articles and infographics and interviews that you can check out. I was supposed to have pictures of these, but it looks like I got deleted. So we can find those, and I'd be happy to share links in the future because it's really exciting and it's really beautiful, all the NFTs, and they're really helpful. So check them out. I definitely recommend them. Pomelo Grant donations will be open until April 23rd. So to submit projects, submit grants, or to do funding, or just to learn more about the Pomelo crowdfunding platform, please visit pomelo.io. And you can also ask more questions and learn more about Pomelo during the upcoming fireside chats every Wednesday in the EOS Discord at 1900 UTC. So yeah, it's really awesome to see all the great progress with Pomelo. One more time, as a reminder, there's only about 3 more days left to submit public grants, to submit public goods grants. So if you have public goods that you want funding for, and go to pomelo.io and create your pitch and share it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the great progress with Pomelo. I'm so excited to see all the great progress so far, and I'm looking forward to learning more about all of these awesome projects and teams who are building these great public goods with Pomelo and EOS. So on that note, I would like to call and invite and encourage everybody to help fund public goods and grow EOS by liking this video, subscribing to see more great videos from EOS Nation, sharing this video with friends. All of these little things you can do will greatly help to grow the EOS ecosystem and help empower all of us to create more public goods and create more value for everyone in the EOS community and world as a whole. So it's much appreciated. And yeah, I definitely recommend doing all those little things you can do to help fund public goods and help spread the word about public goods, because it'll be helpful for all of us so much, and all these little things compound to make beautiful and great improvements in the future. So really exciting. And also, I'll check the chat again because I see lots of exciting action going on here. Love handles his hearts, and yes, we do love Pomelo. I also do love Pomelo, Daniel. And thanks everybody for being here. Go EOS, I agree. All the talk goes back to funding. Funding is very helpful, yeah. Pomelo does indeed rule by Wire News. Ice Ice Baby. Yes, it's super exciting. Great news. And NFTs acceptable at Dungeon Master starting April 20th. Cool. Yeah, Yevon so in the chat has been making great tools with NFTs with Dungeon Masters. That's really exciting. And Felix, thanks, Felix. I appreciate the support. I will keep it up, and I very much appreciate it. And yeah, it's great to see all the enthusiasm. I also love your work, Felix, and everybody in the chat. I've gotten to know a lot of people in the chat recently, and people are just doing amazing work in the EOS community. So thank you, Love Handles. I appreciate it very much. It's great to see everybody here. I very much appreciate the support and appreciate the enthusiasm, and there's so much excitement to share. So I'm happy that everybody's sharing it, and there's really good times and exciting things happening in the EOS ecosystem. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And also, we have a Party Cracker giveaway today. So as we like to do here, we give away Party Crackers to some people who are watching the show, and these have many great EOS NFTs. So if you would like to have a chance at winning some great EOS NFTs with Party Crackers, then go to the EOS Nation Twitter account and check out this tweet here, the most recent tweet where we talk about the topics, and then type in your EOS account name and then hit reply. And then that'll enter you a chance to win a Party Cracker and many great EOS NFTs. Go EOS more, and thank you, Daniel. Dan is the man, Daniel. You know that. Daniel is the man. Free one backpack. Okay, sounds good. Be fast. Be fast. Okay, sounds good. So yeah, thanks everybody, and let's move on to the next topics. So we have some more very big news about developing public goods, developing open source code. So, and very exciting news. So we have the Eosio Coalition announced just this morning. It's very big and exciting news that just came out like 2 hours ago or so. So basically, 4 Eosio protocol-based blockchains, which are EOS, Telos, Wax, and the UX network, have combined their development resources to take over the development of the Eosio protocol core code that underlies and powers each of these blockchains and many more blockchains too. So the coalition has committed a combined $8 million annual budget for the core development and building the software and attracting and compensating and fostering more developers and developments in the ecosystem. So these blockchains are distinct entities and different blockchains, different communities in many ways, although there's many parts of overlap, but we're working together to make EOSIO and the technology stack around EOSIO as helpful as possible, as secure as possible, as feature rich as possible, and yeah, as reliable, all the good things. There's a lot of great developers from all these ecosystems who are working together. People who aren't familiar with EOSIO, I mean, everybody here is probably familiar because we all love EOSIO, but basically it's a leading blockchain technology that enables really high speed and capacity and customizability. It's like, it enables people to use like community computers with decentralized computers where block times transfer in half a second. So it's really fast, and the capacity has been tested over 10,000 transactions per second. So you can do a lot of transactions really fast, and there's no transaction fees. I won't go over too much in detail here. And I've been tending to run long on these hot sauces, so I will try to go quickly, but you can learn more about this and EOSIO, of course. It's super exciting. And as we know, it was created by Block One a few years ago. But then Block One wasn't really developing it so much. So basically the EOS block producers announced a few months ago that they're going to stop paying Block One. And since then, leaders of the EOSIO chains have been working together and meeting every week to figure out how to best work together and to take charge of the future of EOSIO. So you can check out this blog post from a few months ago about exactly what the leaders of the EOSIO chains are aiming to do. And it provides a helpful description of kind of like the start of the coalition and the plans. You can also check out all of the talks on Rami James's channel, who's a great EOSI developer, and then this talk in particular from last week, where the leaders from EOS and Telos started to work together in this coalition, or like announced their intentions to do it, and then Wax and UX joined soon after. There's also been many other leaders from many other EOSIO chains on these calls, so there might be many more blockchains in this coalition in the future. And yeah, basically with this announcement of the $8 million annual budget and working together, there's now like a plan in place, and it's really, I'm excited to learn more. I just learned about this a couple hours ago, so I'm learning as I go, but it seems really exciting. And the coalition is also working with a professional branding agency to help develop more for EOSIO and rebrand it. So keep an eye out for a new name and new branding. Gonna be really exciting. And also the work will probably start like really soon, or it's already been started, because a lot of the work has already been predefined in the working group blue papers. So the teams can work together because these are all really helpful for all EOSIO chains. So yeah, it's really exciting, and it's a big moment for EOSIO chains and very helpful for the world and public goods to have all these open source EOSIO communities working together to make the best software possible with EOSIO. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing the EOSIO coalition, all the great EOSIO developments and communities that it enables. The next topic that we have on a related note is the weekly Mandel upgrade meeting. So there were 12 EOS community leaders that met for the 8th Mandel upgrade to share the recent news and updates about the upcoming consensus upgrade, which is happening in a few months. As I said, the EOS community is now independently building this. This works in many ways hand in hand with the Eosio Coalition, but is more focused on EOS specifically. So a lot of great developers are meeting in these meetings, and this week they shared some exciting details. You can watch the video and see the tweet here. Some highlights are that the transaction lifestyle features that were being developed by OCI and were announced last week are expected to be available for testing in June, and also the 3 senior level EOSI engineers, great engineers recently hired by the ENF, will begin working on Mandel this week. So you can listen to all these talks on the YouTube channel here, and you can also see the summary from the notes here on GitHub and all the other notes from all the Mandel meetings here. There's a lot of great information here. So yeah, it's really great to hear all these great developments as always, and I'm looking forward to seeing much more from Mandel, and especially these new announcements are really exciting. And the final topic that we have today, which is, oh, well, there's a picture or a blog post. If anybody hasn't been following with the developments with OCI, then I recommend checking out these blog posts, and also more blog posts. ENF has just been coming up with a bunch of great blog posts for explaining all the great developments. So you can learn about OCI and all the great developers that are working with EOS and so forth in these blog posts. So many great posts, so many great content, so much exciting development happening in the EOS ecosystem. So yeah, awesome to see what's happening with Mandel and EOS and EOS.io. And the last topic that we have today is the second official Eden election, which is happening tomorrow. I am super excited. I've been busy preparing for this event all week and for much of like the past months, just thinking about how to help the future of Eden. I'm so excited about Eden. It's quite historic being second official Eden election, and there are many great community members in EOS community participating. There's over 200,000 EOS in the treasury for projects that benefit EOS. And yeah, it provides an excellent opportunity to raise funding for EOS projects and help lead the future of the Eden and EOS communities. You can check out the website here where you can see who has, or you can see how many members have registered to participate, and you can learn more about Eden. If you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend learning. There's also the election schedule. So the election event will start at 8 a.m. This is in Eastern Standard Time. That's when there'll be a community Zoom room that opens, and we'll discuss what to expect from the Eden election and how to prepare and just answer questions. And there's an opening ceremony. And then 9 a.m. Eastern time, we'll start with round 1, going into randomized groups. And then at 10 a.m., after the first group reaches consensus, then we'll have the second round for about another hour. And then at 11 a.m., the new Eden chief delegates will be elected. And then we'll talk for like an hour or two, and the head chief will be selected through sortition. And so it'll be really exciting to see everybody in the Eden community coming together and all the great work that people are doing, and elect the next administration, the next great leaders for Eden. So yeah, it's going to be probably about a 5-hour event in total. So people aren't required to stay beyond the rounds that they're participating in, but I feel like it's going to be really exciting. And there's also going to be a watch party hosted by EOS Nation. There's going to be a live stream for the entire event. I highly recommend watching that. I watched the whole live stream after my Eden event last Eden election, and it's really great. It's a great way to learn about Eden. There'll probably be many great talks from many great EOS community leaders. I said letters before again too. So I'll have to figure out that word better. But anyway, yeah. So there's that. And then also on a final note, the final meeting from the Eden First Chief Delegates, number 25, they did a live stream, and I loved the live stream. It was really great to interact in the chat and see all the enthusiasm and questions from many Eden members. I highly recommend listening. The chief delegates discussed what they did for Eden for the past 6 months, and how many hours they work with Eden, and how they plan to attract, or how they want to attract visionary leaders to keep on working with the future of Eden and to help grow the future of Eden. They also talked about the great social and relationship and community building benefits of Eden, and potential for Eden to have governance powers and empowering EOS with fractal democracy. And they also spoke about what they hope to see from in future delegates. There's also some great jokes about space monkeys, and the Eden delegates, chief delegates, joked about being the old men of Eden at the end, which I thought was really funny. Yeah, so there's a bunch of great stuff. They also talked about the upcoming election too, and what they expect and how it will go. So yeah, it was really great. These first 6 months of Eden, I can't really emphasize enough. It's been incredibly helpful and exciting. I'm so thankful for the great leadership of the chief delegates and all the delegates. I've listened to all of 25 of these talks for over like 50 hours, and I've learned and laughed so much listening to each delegate. So thank you so much to Aaron and Lovejoy and Jesse and Chris and John and Randall and everybody who's played such a great part in making the first year or 6 months of Eden and fractal governance so helpful and exciting and yeah, just super, super amazing. And I'm super excited for the next election tomorrow and all the great developments that come with the Eden election in the future. And all the Edens, there's also the Korean Eden and Chinese Eden, and many people are building great projects around Eden now. So it's super exciting. And I love to see both Eden and Pomelo and the ENF grants and all of these different developments coming together to help bring people together, help strengthen communities, help empower people, help empower public goods, help fund public goods. So yeah, it's super, super exciting. There's some great art over here from Chuck that I just kind of wanted to feature because I love it. And yeah, and then also there's more great art that I also love. I love sharing the art on this visual stream. So yeah, thanks everybody for showing up and for being here and for hanging out and learning about EOS and helping to build all these great public goods with EOS and building all these awesome things. I really appreciate it very much. And I'm super excited, as I've said probably a million times now, but hey, it's really exciting. So once again, if you're excited about Eden and Pomelo and ENF grants and funding public goods with EOS, please like and subscribe and share with friends to help grow the EOS ecosystem and help empower all of us to create more public goods with EOS and for the world as a whole. Keep it spicy, everybody. I see more comments in the chat here, and I love to see all the enthusiasm. I don't know if I can catch up with all of it, but I don't know. I think we're seeing the spicy very soon. I'm not sure about that, but we'll find out soon. Go EOS, that's right. I should move my chat over so I can see it better because it's in small text. Yeah, there's a few big engineers. It's excellent. It's awesome. Great weekly meetings. And I am going to be in the Eden election at Ola Art. And there's also over 100, like 130 people who are also registered to do it. So I hope to see you there. I hope to see everybody in Eden and around the ecosystem. And yeah, thanks so much, everybody, for the great episode. Go EOS. Looking forward to the hot sauce next week and so much more exciting news. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.